Alright, let's dive into something that's been making waves recently, and no, it's not another Hogwarts letter. Paapa Essiedu, the actor set to play Severus Snape in the upcoming Harry Potter TV series, has been opening up about the disturbing backlash he's faced since his casting was announced. And honestly, it's a conversation we need to have. What makes this really interesting is how it highlights the darker side of fandom, a side that often gets brushed under the rug. Here's a guy, a talented Shakespearean actor, stepping into one of the most iconic roles in pop culture, and instead of celebration, he's met with death threats. Personally, I think this raises a deeper question: why do some fans feel entitled to dictate who gets to inhabit these characters? Let's break it down. Paapa Essiedu isn't just any actor, he's bringing a fresh perspective to a role previously defined by Alan Rickman's legendary performance. And yet, the response has been anything but welcoming. In an interview with the Times of London, he shared screenshots of messages threatening his life. One thing that immediately stands out is how he handles it, with a mix of resilience and frustration. He doesn't sugarcoat it, he admits it affects him emotionally. But here's where it gets even more compelling: he refuses to let it stop him. In my opinion, that's the kind of mindset we should be talking about more. He's not just playing a character, he's reclaiming space for representation. What many people don't realize is how this goes beyond just Harry Potter. This is about the broader issue of racism in casting, especially when it comes to reimagining beloved characters. Paapa Essiedu is a black actor taking on a role that, in the original films, was portrayed by a white actor. And while the Harry Potter world is supposed to be inclusive, some fans are proving it's anything but. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just about Snape, it's about who gets to see themselves in these fantastical worlds. Paapa mentioned how, as a kid, he imagined himself at Hogwarts. Now, he's making that a reality for others, and that's powerful. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room: the death threats. Paapa hasn't reported them, and his reasoning is both heartbreaking and insightful. He doesn't want a 17-year-old kid thrown in jail for something they said online. From my perspective, this speaks to a bigger issue: how do we hold people accountable for their words without resorting to punitive measures that might not solve anything? It's a complex question, and Papaapa's response forces us to think about it. What this really suggests is that fandoms, as passionate as they are, can be toxic. And it's not just about Harry Potter. Look at Star Wars, Doctor Who, or any franchise with a dedicated fan base. There's always a vocal minority that crosses the line. But here's the thing: Paapa Essiedu isn't letting them win. He's using the hate as fuel, and that's inspiring. He's determined to make Snape his own, not just for himself, but for every kid who's ever dreamed of seeing someone like them in a wizard's robe. A detail I find fascinating is how he's framing this as a long-term commitment. He'll be 45 by the time the series wraps, and he's fully aware his life is about to change. But he's surrendering to it, embracing the opportunity despite the negativity. It's a reminder that sometimes, the things worth doing are the ones that scare us the most. So, where does this leave us? Personally, I think Paapa Essiedu's story is a call to action. It's a reminder that representation matters, but it also comes at a cost. As fans, we need to ask ourselves, are we part of the problem, or are we pushing for a more inclusive world? And as creators, we need to support people like Paapa, who are willing to face the fire to make a difference. Closing thought: the Harry Potter series has always been about courage, friendship, and standing up for what's right. Paapa Essiedu is living those values in real life. The question is, are we? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the most important stories aren't the ones on screen, they're the ones happening behind the scenes.